So the first question I have is, what was the main driving force behind the decision to make this new IP?
The driving force behind this game was kind of came from two ideas that we wanted to really explore the character-driven narrative based on the relationship of two characters spending a long arc together. And this came out of Uncharted 2. Where
he interacts with the blonde girlfriend whose name I can't remember.
Well, he does interact with Elena, but this came specifically out of when Drake was playing with Tenson. There's a section in the game where you are partnered up with Tenson, who doesn't speak your same language. And you go and you're solving, going through the snow, snow sequence where you're solving these obstacles together. And it's not long, it's just like 2 chapters within there. But you develop this strong bond with this character, even though you don't speak the same language, just through the gameplay. And that resonated with players, and it resonated with others as well. It's interesting. And so that brought us to want to create 2 characters that had different perspectives, and get them together and see what it would be like to the course of the entire game, instead of just a couple of chapters. So that was like a core idea behind The Last of Us, and then it became largely inspired by the Cordyceps film.
I've seen your developer guy, the very first one, and it's played for us, and I was like, oh, it's interesting that you guys actually based it off something in real life. Doesn't really do the things that it does in the game, obviously, but still, I thought it was interesting that you actually had that.
And then excited at the fact that happens in our world is incredible. You know, that a fungus can take control of an insect, control its brain, get it to move, kill it, infect others. So it became a good place for us because we did want to create a grounded game, right? That was the goal as well, to explore what it's like to live in this brutal landscape, this post-pandemic world where people are just trying to survive. So all these elements come from. So the more these elements come from grounded real-world examples, that better supports the entire setup of our game.
It's definitely it gives it more life, so to speak. So when compared with Uncharted, The Last of Us is a much more adult and violent video game. Were you guys looking to reach a new audience with this title?
We're always want to bring in more people to play our games, to share in the story, to share in themes that we're wanting to explore. When we set out to make this game and look at the story that we wanted to tell, we started to realize that we were going to have to go to some dark places to get these characters to go through the changes that we wanted to see. Because the landscape is brutal, because the world is brutal, because you can run into somebody that is probably going to have to make a choice of, I need to kill you to survive. And how do you react to that situation, and where does morality play into situations like that? Are you a killer or a survivor? Right? And what's the difference between those two sides?
In this particular world,
it blurs the line. So I think tonally it's a more mature game, and the goal was really just to create a game that we love and that we thought would resonate with the community and would deliver something new.
So from what we've seen in the press demo, The Last of Us is a game that combines several genres like action-adventure, survival horror, shooter. What would you say defines The Last of Us? Like, what would its main genre be?
Its main genre is kind of a new one called survival action.
Yeah, I saw that during the presentation, but I was wondering, like, survival action, what exactly, like, can you actually stealth through a lot of the game? Is that something that you guys intend?
You'll be able to stealth through a lot of the setups. You can skip encounters. If you can stay quiet and work around these. You're going to miss out on some of the supplies, both from the enemies or from the world and that environment. You won't be able to get through many of the things. We're still interested in delivering a very clear narrative from A to B. So there are situations when you will be forced to engage enemies in some ways, but you'll always be given options within those combat setups to fight how you want to fight. So then survival is all about this tone, right? As opposed to survival horror. Like when I attempt to be horrific or have these sudden like pop surprise moments. It's all about the tone, like the overall patina of the world that gives it that survival sense, that scarcity of resource, that scarcity of life. And then the pendulum can swing and give you these that it can then suddenly feel like action. And you need to respond in a different way. You still have very tight controls, that you can still leap over something, hide behind something, move quickly around through an area, suddenly jump up, shoot two people, run, go over somewhere else. You still have that agency of an action game. It's not typical.
So you're gonna have the option of either go full stealth as much as you want, or just go guns blazing. In most scenarios, you're gonna give that option to players.
Yes, I will be careful just running out gun blazing in an area with where everything's so lethal. But for the players that are good and want to take that challenge and are quick with the draw and have enough ammo, they might be able to pull some stuff off.
Are you concerned that a lot of the players will kind of like abuse the stealth mechanic in a way that maybe is not something that you intentionally skip certain encounters in the game that maybe you didn't want them to skip? You concerned with that at all?
No, that doesn't really come up as a concern. We love that our fans are creative and our players are creative. We want to give them some ways to get through areas that maybe we did think about, and we love when we see videos or see fans figure out ways to get past situations that we didn't expect. And it's all about creating a game and a system that is dynamic enough to support a lot of player choices.
So earlier you said that you really intend to do the whole A to B narrative kind of thing, and that kind of leads me to one of the questions that I had, which is, are you going to allow people to like take different routes throughout the game, or is everyone kind of going to go on a certain path? What I mean by this is, like, will me going left instead of going right, would I have different encounters, like a different experience than other players, or will eventually kind of everyone experience more or less the same story? Well,
the choices of the branches, I think I understand your question, are generally within a combat space, or within the choices of how to get through a situation, because they're still leading you or taking you on this like A to B story. So you won't. When we see people talk about how they got through these situations, we hear people things like, well, the guys went this way, and because I had searched that storage room over there and used a shiv to unlock this, I had a Molotov, so I was able to throw a brick and take these two guys out. And someone else would be like, I didn't have that. Like, I didn't have those things. What did you do? Like, okay, well, I had to go this other way to get around these two guys because they came through this window. And you're just like, oh, and so you get these different experiences happening within this space and within this game. So the way that you survive through these things becomes unique, and then a lot of the core events will end up being the same.
So something that we've noticed is how come there wasn't a co-op mode? Because we felt that this title really had a great potential for a co-op experience.
That gets back to us still being interested in and focusing on delivering a very crafted story, a very crafted narrative. and interested in the relationship that gets created through the gameplay. While there are a lot of co-op games that we think are very fun when you get to play alongside, if we were to put somebody in control of Ellie, that would change.
Yes, it would change because Ellie is not like your typical fighter. She would be like a utility character, something like that.
So it would totally change the relationship, and we continue to be focused on the relationship and delivering that story.
Because you would be relational with the other player as opposed to the character. The two small chapters that the team at Portugal Gaming played, because I didn't get to play it yet. They didn't really give us a proper idea on the game's difficulty level. Do you feel that The Last of Us is a game that's going to push players to their very limits?
We're including some different difficulty modes. Because we know there's a range of gamers that really want to get pushed and really want to try and be challenged by it, and there's others that want to experience the story and make it a little bit easier to progress through some of the tough encounters. I think we're going to challenge people's idea of how to play a game like this, challenge the idea of how to combine the tactics of a survival with action. We look forward to people jumping in there and taking on this world and figuring it out.
So you've kept the multiplayer modes pretty much on full lockdown until this point, but you've also stated that it's going to be the best multiplayer experience that you've ever developed. Why is that?
I think you're referring to a tweet of one of our colleagues. We haven't said much about the multiplayer yet. We're going to announce some things very shortly, and we're excited for that. We've definitely said that we'll have it. I've gotten to play it. It is very fun. If you just imagine like these elements of being able to craft things on the fly, to have to scavenge, to have to look around, to have this highly lethal world.
During multiplayer.
If you just start to imagine all those single player elements in a multiplayer situation, you can start to imagine.
So we're not talking typical deathmatch like Uncharted style, nothing like that. Okay, well, can I have this one? This next question usually just gets the no comments reply, but I'm just wondering, do you guys have a hidden clue in The Last of Us that references your next project?
Yeah, you have to look for it if it's
is there.
I'm not confirming it.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.